The biggest thing for me in trading is who is in control. Is the market going up? Is the market going down? If I can work that out, I've got a good chance of scalping a living out of trading. Simple as that. This video is all about trying to find who is in control using moving averages and a MACD. In front of us we have two charts. The left hand side I call the parent chart, the right hand side I call the child chart. Whatever the parent does, the child has to follow. That's the way I look at things, okay? Let's talk about the indicators first. On both charts we have an 8, a 20 and a 5 MACD. Okay, it's just a bit quicker than the normal. And on both charts we have a 3 and an 8 EMA. Okay. First thing you will notice on the parent chart, the 1 hour chart, is there's no bars. I have the bars turned off. I do not need to see the bars. The bars are a distraction to me. So I just hide the bars. I'm just concerned with who is in control. And how do I determine that? If blue is below orange, the market's going short. We also need the MACD to be doing the same thing. Blue needs to be below orange. If blue is above orange, we are going long, and same with the MACD. It's that simple. Okay, you don't need to think about it too hard. If you need to think about it, don't trade it. Okay, and there will be times where things will be out of sync. Like here, blue's above orange, blue's below orange. I call that consolidation. Okay. Find another one for you if I can find one. I can't find one, of course. Okay, I just can't find one. Not there, not there. Okay, well, looks like it's a perfect system. We have the Holy Grail. That's unusual that I can't find something. When you see stuff like this, who's in control? Well, I don't know. Don't trade it. You know, you want to see this. That's what you want to see. And I know it's easy to say this after the fact, but you know, that's why we have this 10-minute chart over here, and we're going to use for our entries. So how do we determine an entry on the 10-minute chart? Same principle, blue below orange. You can see it here. It's pushing down the MACD. As soon as I see these things turning over, that's where I take my entry, somewhere in here. Okay, don't take an entry way down here at the end of the bar. Just wait for price to pull back into this area, this zone, this value zone, the gap between the 3 and the 8. Okay, if it pulls back, take the trade and jump in. Okay, this is NASDAQ, in case I failed to mention that. Exits. Let's talk about exits. Where does the exit happen? Well, before we get into that, I just want to say I'm trying to capture as much as I can on the 1 hour, meaning I'm trying to get the largest trend possible, which means I'm trying to capitalize on the largest amount of money that I can possibly take without swing trading, without holding overnight. I don't like to hold overnight. So your exit could be, just hang on a sec, let me get rid of this. If we took an entry here, we can see that this thing's turned over, okay, and let me just get this 10-minute. So what I would be doing, I'll be entering here on this on the 10-minute somewhere, and I'm looking at that 1 hour. I'm really focusing on these two EMAs and also the MACD. Okay, and now this is the end of the night when it hits the end of the pink here. Okay, so I would have been out anyway, as you can see here. So just get back to the 10-minute for a second. So I would have entered here, and of course, look at that, there's 450, that's 500 points. Now that's pretty ginormous. Okay, but if you wanted to keep that going, I would say an exit would be when at least the MACD crosses over on the 10-minute, or price is pushing back through the 8 EMA. Okay, you know, they're going to be your best opportunities for exit. The problem with exits how is how mentally strong you are, and how much a risk tolerance that you can handle. So it's all subjective and it's very personal. Okay, some people might get freaked out and just jump out after they made 20 points. Let's get back to this NASDAQ from last night. So see here who's in control. The 3 is above the 8, okay, but look at the MACD, it's out of sync. So who's out of sync? Well, I don't really know, but I can tell you, for that to be a long, I need blue to be above orange on the MACD. So the MACD is saying that maybe it's going short. I don't believe in divergence as such. The MACD is measuring the distance between an 8 and a 20 EMA, and I'll just put this 20 EMA on. I'll just get rid of the 3. This MACD and all MACDs are only measuring the distance between its two highest numbers. Normally the MACD is a 12 and a 26. I have this set at 8 and 20. So as these two moving averages converge, this MACD line will start to go down. And as they diverge, the MACD line goes up. Simple as that. Once you know that, you don't need to have this 20 EMA on the charts, okay? That's why I don't have it there. I don't need it, okay? Because I can understand what the MACD is doing. I'll just get rid of it. So in here, there's no trading, and you might think, oh man, I missed out on, $20 million. So be it. What happens if you lost 20 million? You'd be crying. So right here, the 3's gone under. It's in sync with this 1 hour chart. Now I'm over here on the 10-minute chart, and I'm looking for a short in this area. Straight away, I can tell you I would have entered here because the MACD is under orange and it's below this 0 line. I might have failed to mention this, but the 20 EMA is the 0 line on the MACD. That's what it represents. It represents when the 8 and the 20 cross. When the 8 and the 20 cross, if I can find a crossover, which was here, that is when the MACD crosses the 0 line. Okay, that's all. That's all the MACD is. But it's just a handy indicator to have. So anyway, getting back to the 10-minute chart, I want to see the 3, I want to see blue under orange, and I want to see the MACD in this position. So everything is doing exactly the same thing. You cannot get any better signal than that. Where do you enter? As high as you can for a short, jump in. Where do you get out? I would get out here at the crossover of the MACD or thereabouts, okay? This is a scalping strategy. I'm not here to sit in these trades I'm not a swing trader. So I'm here to just try and get what I can, okay? I did mention about trying to focus on this 1 hour and stay in as long as I can. I could have, but I still would have got out here. If it ever comes back on me, I'm getting out. I made profit. Why would I let that go? Okay, simple as that. Where do you re-enter? It's the same thing. Wait for this MACD to turn over. Nothing in here, and then it turns over quickly. This bar, I don't know whether you would have caught it. That's a 166-point bar. That would have just shot down so quickly, but maybe you might have got it there for a bit. I don't know. And that's it for the NASDAQ tonight. It's a very simple strategy. Is it the holy grail? No, but it can really help with trend by getting rid of the bars on the 1 hour. I've had this idea for quite a long time, and I've only just revisited the thing because I was really struggling with trying to find trend, and these bars were, I just went, hang on, they're really distracting me. I'm getting really influenced by all the wicks and getting a bit freaked out. So I thought, you know what, I recalled a strategy that I had ages ago. Just get rid of the bars. but if you want, you can keep them on. I'm an indicator trader, and I trade indicators, so I don't see why I need the bars on trying to find the trend. Okay, the indicators are finding the trend for me on the higher time frame. So that's about it. You could also use a 4-hour chart, and maybe a I don't know. You could try 1 hour for entry. You know, that might be a little bit difficult, but it's still the same principle. You're just waiting. For blue to drop down below the orange here. This would have been around about here. I think he would have got wiped out here pretty quickly on this 1 hour. Maybe you could have dropped down to a 30-minute for your entries. Yeah, I don't know. Hard to say. Anyway, just I like the 1 hour and the 10-minute for scalping. It just really suits my risk tolerance. And as I say, this is NQ. You can come over here to oil. It works on all assets. You're not limited to just whatever. That's crude oil tonight. I had a couple of scalps here in crude oil, and it worked really well. All right. Any questions, just leave them down below. Otherwise, it's a pretty stock standard strategy. There will be fake outs, there will be losses. Just minimize all of that. Okay, catch ya.